Ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, our colleagues in government, good morning. As National Statistician Lisa Bersales has just reported, the Philippine economy grew by 6.9% in the last quarter of 2014, pushing the average full-year growth to 6.1% and maintaining the country's trajectory towards a path of high growth. The fourth quarter and full-year growth is above the market expectation of 6.0% and 5.8% respectively. Compared to other Asian economies that have already released their fourth quarter growth data for 2014, the Philippines was the third fastest, next to the People's Republic of China with 7.3% and Vietnam with 7.0%. But on a full-year basis, our country ranked second next to China with 7.4% and slightly higher than Vietnam with 6.0%. With this upbeat year-end performance, the economy is anticipated to gain further traction in 2015. Growth in the fourth quarter of 2014 appears to be broad-based, as all three major productive sectors, the agriculture, industry, and services, have shown positive and robust growth during this period. Most notable is the recovery of the agricultural sector, which significantly grew by 4.8% in the fourth quarter of 2014 from the 0.9% growth in the same period in 2013. The industry sector grew by 9.2% in the fourth quarter, its highest in the last 6 consecutive quarters since the third quarter of 2013. The service sector also grew by 6.0% in the fourth quarter, the same growth for the 2014 full-year average. These numbers show the sustaining and reinforcing dynamism from the private sector that is contributing to the growth of the Philippine economy amid various challenges it faces. Thus, maintaining and increasing this level of business confidence is always an utmost priority of the Philippine government. Agricultural production accelerated mainly due to the rebound in crops and fisheries output. Crop production, which accounts for about 50% of total agricultural output, grew by 5.7%, coming mostly from palay and corn. Most areas that reported higher palay and or corn output benefited from moving the harvest from the third quarter to fourth quarter for a more favorable weather condition. The higher output could also be attributed to the increased usage of high-yielding seed varieties. Meanwhile, owing to its sheer size, the services sector remains the largest contributor to growth, followed closely by the industry sector. Growth in services improved relative to the 2014 third quarter growth, with a recovery in public administration, transport and communications, and stronger growth in real estate, renting, and business activities, which include BPOs. Meanwhile, the acceleration in industry growth was due to the double-digit expansion in construction, even as manufacturing remained as its biggest growth driver. Compared to the previous quarter's 7.6% growth, the pickup in construction pushed the industry sector's growth rate higher, as both public and private sectors sped up implementation of projects, with public construction reversing its negative growth. For private construction, major developers remained bullish due to continued strong demand for office, retail, and residential space. On the demand side, the robust private consumption during the quarter was mainly on account of higher purchases for food and non-alcoholic beverages, durable equipment, and private construction. It was also buoyed by the rising number of employed Filipinos, which grew by 2.8% to 38.8 million from 37.8 million a year ago, based on the October 2014 round of the Labor Force Survey, or the LFS. This was accompanied by the decline in the unemployment rate from 6.4% to 6.0% in the same LFS round. Meanwhile, exports grew by 15.5% in real terms in the fourth quarter, and a full-year expansion of 12.1% relative to the previous quarter's growth of 9.9%. Exports of goods increased by 15.9% from 6.2% in the fourth quarter of 2013, as positive developments in the global manufacturing sector were seen. The faster growth in exports of services to 14.1% from a 6.7% decline came mainly from the business process outsourcing of BPO sector. Currently, the industry employs 1.052 million Filipinos, and by 2016, the sector targets to achieve 1.3 million full-time employees and $25 billion in revenues from the BPO sector. Moreover, the government stood by its commitment to ramp up and catch up with its spending as we approach the last 3 months of 2014. This is evident in the 9.8% increase of government final consumption expenditure in this period, a far cry from the 2.6% contraction in the third quarter of 2014 and from a 0.4% contraction in the last quarter of 2013. Double-digit growth in personal services and maintenance and other operating expenses were recorded in this period. The numbers tell us that we are moving in the right direction. There may have been some glitches along the way as we adjusted to the new systems that the government had put in place in pursuit of good governance. But clearly, the economic policies and strategies we are implementing to achieve sustained inclusive growth are bearing fruit. Despite this notable performance of the economy, we remain vigilant against risk from the global economy. Current global economic conditions still exhibit mixed signals influenced by critical developments, including sluggish world trade, muted commodity prices, and rising interest rates and risk spreads in many emerging market economies, in contrast to the persistently low interest rates in major advanced economies. Specifically, the sharp deceleration of petroleum prices beginning the second half of 2014 is benefiting oil importing economies, but is tempering the growth prospects of oil exporting countries. The net effect to global growth, however, is positive. Amid the lingering and uneven external conditions, the economy is likely to draw its vigor from the domestic front. On the supply side, the agriculture and fisheries sector is seen to continually grow due to rice and corn yield improvements, the surgence of fishery, and the moderate expansion of livestock and poultry. Furthermore, manufacturing will rely on buoyant exports, so robust domestic demand for manufactured goods by rising household incomes, fueled partly by overseas Filipino remittances and the rise of election-related spending. Also, the surge of private construction is expected in residential projects and office space. Services will be bolstered by soft oil prices, vigorous domestic trade, strong financial intermediation, vibrant BPO industry, and significant international meetings that will transpire this year. On the demand side, household consumption will likely remain buoyant, supported by better employment opportunities and remittances. Investment will largely be fueled by the capital expenditures of big firms in the country and expectedly the catching up of the government and its infrastructure program, including reconstruction in disaster-hit areas, will further drive the sector's growth. Also, exports will continue to grow despite the fragility of the global economy. Overall, the Philippine economy's performance in 2014 and the preceding years, starting in 2010, shows how our country can no longer be called the sick man of Asia. Our economic growth is becoming more competitive with our East and Southeast Asian neighbors. We have avoided the dreaded boom and bust cycle that has haunted our economy for decades. We have worked hard not only to get the economy going, but also to institute critical governance reforms. Our experience through the years of the Aquino administration taught us that indeed good governance combined with good economics can lead to good growth. Growth that is rapid, sustained, and inclusive, which we have always been aspiring for. The task is far from complete, though. Therefore, we should not put to waste what we have all achieved through the years. We need to protect the gains we have so far achieved in managing the economy and restoring the people's faith in the bureaucracy and bringing about peace. This accounts largely for the business confidence that the country has earned. We therefore remain committed to the governance and economic reforms we have laid out to keep the fruits of our labor intact, avoid a significant reversal of gains, and continue to move towards inclusive growth. Salamat at mabuhay tayong lahat.